Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY projects, we will be creating some beautiful home decor made with items from the Dollar Tree and an inexpensive piece of wood. Now these projects feature a fun and fresh modern look with warm wood accents and a sleek black finish. Now even though I chose this colorway, these pieces can be painted, stained, and finished in a variety of ways to accommodate many different tastes and styles of home decor. Now, as always, all of the projects I create have a complete supply list in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather your supplies. Now, before we start, I have to say, hey to all of my subscribers, and if you're a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well, and stick around to enjoy these crafts and all of the tips that I will share along the way. So now, let's just jump right into the projects. Now this project is a 3-tier plant stand and display shelf. Now we're going to need 3 of these large pet bowls from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need one 1x2 piece of wood from Lowe's that is currently $1.98. Now the first thing we're going to do is cut the wood piece into 3 pieces, and we're going to cut them at 23 inches, and you can use the saw of your choice or have the home improvement store cut these for you. So now that they're cut, we're going to go ahead and stain these. Now for a quick stain, I'm going to use the Waverly Antique Wax, but you can use any paint or stain that you like. So I'm just going to apply the wax to each one of the pieces, making sure for each side that I do apply it, I'm just going to wipe away all of that excess wax to help it dry faster and remove the excess wax buildup. Now we're going to do this on all sides of the piece of wood, and here is the piece all nice and stained. Now we're just going to repeat this for our other 2 pieces, and once they're stained, we're going to allow them time to dry. So while those are drying, we're going to go ahead and grab those pet bowls and prepare those for our shelf. So we need to divide this into 3 equal sections. So what I did is I cut strips of printer paper and joined them together into a strip that would wrap evenly around the bowl, and then I folded that strip into 3 equal sections. Now this will provide me with the perfect 3-section division so we can mark it. So I'm going to be marking it quickly with a white chalk pen. So what I'm going to do is wrap my strip around and join the ends, and once the ends are joined, you could see where those folds are, and I'm just going to mark the top ledge of the pet bowl with my little chalk marker at each one of those folds and where those pieces join, and now you see you have 3 equal sections. Now I'm also going to mark the side of the bowl as well. Now to make sure all of your other bowls are marked exactly the same way, just stack them all together and then transfer that marking to the side of the other 2 bowls. And now everything is marked and ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill a hole in each side of the bowl. Now I only want to drill it through the lip. I'm using a 3/32 inch drill bit, and again you just want to carefully drill it through only the lip of the bowl, not going to the inside of the bowl. Now we're going to repeat this all the way around the bowl for all 3 of your bowls, and here they all are. They're all ready to go with that pilot hole drilled into the lip on each of the 3 sides of each bowl. So now our wood pieces are nice and dry, and we are going to prepare these as well with our pilot holes. So where I'm going to mark them is from the bottom. My first drill hole is going to be at the 5-inch mark, and then the next drill hole up is going to be at 14 inches up from the bottom, and then the last drill hole at the top is going to be approximately 1/2 inch below that top ledge. Now I'm just going back with my Sharpie to mark it just to make sure I can see them better when I get ready to drill them. Okay, so now we're ready to drill our pilot holes, and I'm using that same drill bit. So I'm going to drill all the way through, going through to the other side in all of those locations that I marked. And now here are all of those holes done, and I'm going to use this piece as a template for my other pieces. So I'm just going to grab my second piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack it underneath the piece that I drilled the holes in, and to transfer that marking, all I'm going to do is drill straight back through that same pilot hole, going through that second piece of wood, making sure the pieces are nice and even each time you drill down. And now you have an exact replication of that piece, and you want to do that for the third piece as well until they're all done. So now we need to go ahead and get our screws ready for this. Now for this project, I'm going to be using some number 6 1¼ inch wood screws for this project, and these will make sure that it doesn't go through the inside of the bowl. So we're choosing the darker side to be on the outside of our shelf. So when we screw these in, we want to screw them in just to the point where the tip of that screw pokes through just a little bit through the other side as shown here. Now we're going to do this for all of our pilot holes on all 3 of our legs. And here are all the screws all mounted and ready to go with just the tips poking through the other side. So now we can go ahead and grab our pet bowls and we can start assembling our shelf piece. So I'm just going to grab one and I'm going to put it up on its side, exposing that first little pilot hole. Now what I'm going to do is take the one that's on the bottom of our shelf, and I'm lining up the very tip of that screw with the pilot hole. This helps hold it in place while you actually screw it with your drill. Now you do want to go slowly into this. You don't want to do it really tight. You just want to do it until it's all the way through, and as you can see, that screw goes just through the lip only, and it just barely touches the edge of the bowl, but it only goes through the lip. And so now we're going to grab our second bowl. We're also going to line that up with one of those pilot holes, just putting the tip of that screw in there, and we are going to screw that one in place as well. Now once that's all done, we're going to repeat that for the third one the same way. Now here are the 3 bowls mounted on one side of one of the legs, all nice and mounted in place. So now let's just rotate it around, and we're going to do the second one. And we're going to do this the same way, starting with the bottom, working our way up, lining up those screw heads, the screw tips with the holes in the pet bowls. And then we're just going to screw all of those in the same way. Now here are 2 sides of our shelf piece with all of the screws secured in, and then finally all we have to do is add that third side, and this is what it looks like. It's all assembled, it's super sturdy, and these dog bowls are really thick. So now all you have to do is to set this up and decorate it. And here it is, you guys. Now you have a beautiful 3-tier stand for your space. Now these large bowls are pretty heavy duty and can hold a good amount of weight too. Now I did choose to put some artificial plants inside, but since these are waterproof, you can place a real potted plant inside to enjoy in your space. Now don't just limit yourself to plants. You can use this for craft organization, bathroom item storage, and so much more. The possibilities are really endless with this little shelf design. Let me know in the comments how you would use this shelf in your space home decor. Now this project is a set of wood grain accent vases. Now we're going to need 2 of these larger frosted vases from the Dollar Tree, and I found these in the glassware section. Now what we're going to do is we're going to divide this in half because these will be a 2-tone vase. So I'm taking my ruler and I'm measuring up from the bottom 5 inches. So I'm just going to go around each one of the vases, marking a mark at the 5-inch mark. Now once that's done, we are going to be taping these off, and I love to use electrical tape for all of my round vases. It just works better. Now I did want to spray paint these, so to avoid any overspray, I am going to be protecting the bottom half of the vase. So I just cut a piece of some craft paper, and I'm going to start to wrap it around the vase and also use my electrical tape at the same time. So both sides of the electrical tape will cover the craft paper and the vase along the line that we previously marked. Now once you get around to the end, you may need to crumple the paper up a little bit since it is a round shape. You just want to make sure that tape remains really nice and even, and then wrap it around till everything is secured in place. Now for all the extras, you just wrap it around and crumple it up and secure it to the vase, and then you could just wrap some Scotch tape around it to make sure everything stays in place. Now you want to repeat this for your other vase. And here they are, both wrapped and ready to go. And I'm going to take it out and give it 2 coats of some satin black spray paint by Krylon. So here are the vases. After about an hour and a half, they are nice and dry, so you can start to remove that craft paper. Now, as you can see, as you start to remove the tape, it left a really crisp, clean line. That's what I really love about using electrical tape for my spray paint projects. Now here are both vases all nice and done with the top coat. So now we're going to start working on the decorative wood grain design. So you want to go ahead and lay down one of your vases and grab your Waverly antique wax, and this is what we'll be using to make our wood grain. Now I always like to use a chip brush or a natural bristle brush. You can get these from the Dollar Tree, and I love to use those types of brushes to give really good wood grain lines in my project. So I'm just going to start applying the antique wax in one stroke, downward motion, and I am trimming out the top area where it meets the black. It's okay if it overlaps a little because this does wipe away pretty easily, but once you get that gap filled in, you just want to keep going up and down in even strokes around the vase until you get the wood grain texture that you're looking for. Now if you want little knots, you could take another brush and make little swirls, and you can actually blend those in, and that really does give your wood a really natural texture on your vase. And here's what the vase will look like after I finished. And now all you have to do is just take your baby wipe and go around the top edge of where you painted and added your wax to clean up any overage that got on the black paint. And now you want this to dry while you work on your other one. And here they are, they're ready to go. So let these completely dry for a few hours. And now that they're dry, here is what they look like. I think they did turn out really, really good. And now the fun part, decorating. I think that these vases turned out so amazing. Now I think that this satin black paint with the rich texture of the antique wax looks so amazing for your project and really give these pieces a high-end look. I love how you can see all the amazing textures with those chip brushes, and I love the smooth finish of the black satin spray paint. Now you all have to let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. Now this project is a bamboo decor design on canvas. We're going to need one of these black canvases from the Dollar Tree. You need some nautical or cotton rope from the Dollar Tree, and some bamboo skewers from Walmart for 88 cents, or you can get them from the Dollar Tree. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is prepare our bamboo skewers. So I'm going to just pull out a couple handfuls of these skewers, and I'm going to prepare to stain these. Now to stain them, I'm going to stick with my Waverly antique wax to do this. So I'm going to apply the wax. Now I started to do them all at once, but it just was not cooperating with me. So I'm old school, so I just went back to staining each one, and that way I have control of how the finish looks. And I'm going to do this for each of the skewers. Now the thing I love about bamboo, it really gives this spotted kind of tiger finish that I really love, and it gives your finished project character. So I'm going to let these all completely dry. So once they dry, go ahead and grab one of your canvases. Now, you know that you can get a white canvas and paint it black. If you don't have a black canvas, that's perfectly fine. So I did grab my nautical rope, and the first thing I like to do with my ropes is to add some hot glue around one of the ends and let it dry. And what this does is kind of seal in those rope ends to keep it from fraying and make it look nice and neat for your projects. So I thought this rope might have been a little too dark for what I was going for, but I wanted to give it a try. So I started wrapping it around and placing it in the center. I wasn't really happy with how that looked like, but I remembered I did have some cotton rope that I got from the Dollar Tree, and this is just one of the strands unwound from a large rope piece. And I'm going to wrap that around as well and just take a look at it to see how that looks. So I placed that in the center. I really love the look of that a lot better. So I am going to be using this for the project today. So I'm going to start off adding a circle dot of the hot glue in the middle of the canvas. Go ahead and start rolling up your cinnamon bun type swirl in the middle and place it in the center. Now once that sets, go ahead and start adding some hot glue around that circle, just wrapping that rope around it. Just nestling it really tight in that glue. Now once you get around to maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide, I'm going to find where I want to end my rope, and where I want to end it, again, I'm going to place that hot glue around the rope at the point that I wanted to cut it. And once that does dry, you could just cut it, and I'm cutting it at an angle with a pair of scissors so the end won't be so thick. So now I'm just going to add up the last bit of hot glue around that circle, and then make sure I wrap that rope tightly around there, and then I want to make sure I do tuck that end in. So I'm adding a little bit more hot glue there to make sure the end is tucked in nice and smooth. And here is what the little circle will look like in the middle. So now that that's done, we can start working on adding all of our little bamboo skewers. Now what I like to use to cut my skewers are a pair of dog clippers, the little dog nail clippers, and I got these from the Dollar Tree. I love using these instead of wire clippers or scissors simply because they don't crush the skewer when you cut them, so they keep them nice and round. So that's what I love to use. It's a nice little hack that I really love. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting pieces, and I'm going to start forming a cross around the middle of the circle, just cutting those pieces, just laying them down on that canvas and cutting them to fit all the way around the circle. Now, like I said, these are super easy to cut with the little pet nail clippers, and they work perfect for this project. Now once you have all 4 pieces cut nice and even, you can start to apply them, and I'm just going to be using my hot glue. Now there's a couple ways you can do it. You can actually apply a thin line of hot glue directly to the canvas, and then you can sit your skewer right in that hot glue. And this is probably one of the easiest ways if you have a steady hand, or you could do it, and I think I prefer this way better, is to actually apply the hot glue to the skewer. You just want to make sure you get the thinnest bead as possible so it won't show up in your project, and then you can place it in place very carefully on your canvas piece. Now you're going to repeat this all the way around until your cross in the center is nice and secure. So the next step we're going to do is we are going to do a crisscross in the middle with 2 skewers, cutting the pieces the same way, and this is what it will look like after that. So now we're going to add another skewer between each one of those gaps, and we're just going to cut them a little shorter where they don't cut the edge. So when I cut these down and I added them in, here is the next step, and this is what it looks like. Looks like a little sunburst forming in the center. So the next set of skewers, which is the last set, is a skewer a little bit shorter than that. So I'm getting shorter and shorter as I go. But here it is halfway through. While I'm adding these, you can add as many or as little as you like. You could stop here. I think this looks like a sunset, really cute. Or you can complete it all the way around as shown here. This is perfect to show as is, but I did want to add just a small little decorative accent, and this is totally optional. So what I did is I cut a little triangle out of a piece of foam board, and I have a little scrap piece of a dowel from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to hot glue that little triangle at the end of the dowel, and what this will form is kind of a little stamper, because I wanted to stamp little triangles in the center of my circle. So to stamp this, I'm going to be using some black acrylic paint. So I'm just going to dip my triangle into that acrylic paint, and I'm going to start stamping the triangle around my little circle. I'll just place it down on the cotton rope and just kind of rotate it in a circular motion to get all that paint on there. And you see it transformed a little triangle in the center there. So I'm going to do all 4 corners first, just to make sure I get them applied nice and even and I don't have any weird gaps at the very end. So now that I have all 4 here, you guys got the hang of it. I'm just going to put another 4 in between all of those gaps, and I ended up putting a dot of paint in the center. And here is what that finished project looks like. I kind of really love how this turned out. So now here it is on display, and I love the black and the bamboo accents on this piece. Now, like so many of my decor pieces, you can choose different elements and designs to make it your own, and that's what's so fun about DIYing. Now this piece can be displayed horizontal too, and you can make multiples if you like. Now I really had fun creating these fun and easy projects today, and I hope that they have inspired you. But as always, I do love them all, but let me know in the comments which one was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below, or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen, and make sure you hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It's absolutely free. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.